The United Nations International Court of Justice is all set to hear South African claims that Israel is committing genocide against Palestinians. The ICJ is present in and is also known as the World Court. Now, the court is set to convene on Thursday and Friday in a case accusing Israel of failing to uphold its obligation under the 1948 Genocide Convention. And South Africa has cited Israel's failure to provide essential food, water, medicine, fuel, shelter and other humanitarian assistance to the Gaza Strip. Now, both South Africa and Israel are party to the Genocide Convention. An Israeli government spokesperson confirmed that the country will appear before the International Court of Justice on Thursday.
We'll start with an update on the ICJ. Tomorrow, the State of Israel will appear before the International Court of Justice to dispel South Africa's absurd blood libel. We welcome Secretary Blinken's remarks that Pretoria's submission to the ICJ is meritless and, quote, particularly galling, given that those attacking Israel continue to openly call for the annihilation of Israel and mass murder of Jews. This despicable intervention to save the skin of the Hamas rapist regime is, as Secretary Blinken noted, also a distraction from important efforts to bring back the hostages, protect civilians, and prevent this conflict from spreading. We, the State of Israel, will not be distracted as we continue pursuing those essential goals.
Now, meanwhile, Palestinians gathered in front of the Nelson Mandela statue in the West Bank city of Ramallah to thank South Africa.
We feel that South Africa listened to our heart, to our pain.
The convention obliges its signatories not to commit genocide and also to prevent and punish it. The treaty defines genocide as acts committed with intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial or religious group. The hearings will deal exclusively with South Africa's request for emergency measures ordering Israel to suspend its military actions in Gaza. A panel of 17 judges, including one ad hoc justice each from Israel and South Africa, will hear each side's arguments for 3 hours. And the court will also be hearing on the merits of the case, a process which could actually take years. Now, experts also believe that the verdict of the World Court will have important ramifications on the ongoing war.
So the ICJ has discretion into what kind of provisional measure it is imposed. It does not necessarily have to follow those precisely asked by South Africa. So it could also opt to order Israel to impose, to have a humanitarian ceasefire. And in addition to that, South Africa has also requested for other kinds of provisional measures, such as the obligation for Israel to do what it can to make sure that the Palestinians have access to food, to water, to humanitarian assistance, to medical assistance. So it may be likely that the court also issues those kinds of orders, and possibly also that it orders Israel not to do anything that may aggravate the situation.
And for more on this, we were earlier joined by Alan Burstein, who is a visiting assistant professor and an Israel Institute fellow at the Department of Political Science, University of California, and he joined us live before. Take a listen.
This is clearly trying to make a statement to the international public opinion and to the international court. Netanyahu also put out the statement exclusively in English, not in Hebrew. He's not talking to Israelis. He put out the statement exclusively in English. Israel has a problem. The Israeli government is made up of extreme right-wing parties. Prior to the outbreak of the war, it was all exclusively extreme right-wing parties and religious parties, populist parties. Members of those parties have said things that are all appearing in South Africa's case as evidence for Israel's intent. One of the things that is very difficult, usually during international cases, is to prove intent. Here you have top ministers, members of cabinet, who have openly called to burn Gaza to the ground, to destroy every Gazan. There is no innocent Gazan. Today, a member of Netanyahu's party said, burn all buildings to the ground. No one is innocent in Gaza. This is evidence that speaks to many to the court saying this is what the government wants. And I think Netanyahu is starting to realize there's a problem here and is trying to at least have some counterbalance evidence to say, yes, but as the prime minister, I am not saying those things. In fact, I'm publicly talking against them. It's all rhetoric at this point. Israel clearly does not have a plan for what it's going to do in Gaza. At this point, Netanyahu is simply trying to build up some evidence so that the defense in the case can say, aha, but see, the prime minister said this yesterday, in my opinion.